Johannes Gutenberg was a German inventor who changed the world with his creation of the printing press in the 15th century. Before Gutenberg, books were written by hand, which was slow, expensive, and limited to the wealthy and religious elites. His invention made it possible to produce books quickly and cheaply, making knowledge available to ordinary people for the first time. Gutenberg's most famous achievement was the Gutenberg Bible, the first major book printed using movable metal type. This Bible was not only a technical success, but also a symbol of a cultural revolution. It showed that printed books could be just as beautiful as handwritten ones, but much easier and faster to produce. His press used individual metal letters, which could be rearranged to print different pages. This idea was revolutionary because it allowed the same type to be reused for multiple books. Michael Hart, the author of The 100, a ranking of the most influential persons in history, ranked Gutenberg among the most impactful people ever. According to Hart, Gutenberg's invention had far-reaching effects that changed history forever. It allowed knowledge, ideas, and discoveries to spread across the world in ways that were impossible before. Without Gutenberg's press, key historical movements like the Renaissance, the Reformation, and the scientific revolution might never have happened, or they would have been much slower. One of Gutenberg's biggest contributions was making books affordable. Before his invention, books were rare and cost a fortune. Only churches, universities, and the very wealthy could afford them. But with printing, books became much cheaper and more people could learn to read. This created a thirst for education and knowledge across Europe. Gutenberg's printing press also played a crucial role in the Reformation, a major religious movement in the 16th century. Martin Luther, a German monk, criticized the Catholic Church and wrote his famous 95 Theses. Thanks to Gutenberg's invention, Luther's ideas were quickly printed and distributed across Europe, reaching ordinary people as well as scholars. This led to a massive religious and cultural shift that shaped the modern world. The press also supported the Renaissance, a time of great artistic and intellectual growth. Writers, philosophers, and scientists could share their ideas more easily. Famous works like those of Shakespeare, Galileo, and Copernicus were printed and widely read. This exchange of ideas helped societies grow smarter and more innovative. In science, Gutenberg's invention was just as important. Before the printing press, scientific discoveries were often limited to handwritten notes that were hard to share. After printing, scientists could publish their findings and share them with others, speeding up discoveries and progress. Isaac Newton's groundbreaking work, for example, spread quickly because of printed books. Michael Hart also pointed out that Gutenberg's impact wasn't just limited to knowledge and religion. His press transformed politics and communication. Newspapers, which became possible because of printing, allowed people to stay informed about events and governments. This helped create a more educated public, which became the foundation for modern democracies. Leaders could no longer control information the way they used to, as people had access to news and ideas from multiple sources. Gutenberg's invention also helped preserve languages and cultures. Before printing, many local languages were only spoken and not written. With printing, books in different languages were published, helping to standardize and preserve them. This allowed cultures to thrive and made it easier for people to communicate within their regions. Despite his groundbreaking invention, Gutenberg himself did not become wealthy or famous during his lifetime. He faced financial problems, and one of his business partners eventually took over his printing press. Gutenberg lived his final years in relative obscurity, but the world eventually recognized the value of his work. Gutenberg's printing press marked the beginning of the information age. His invention turned knowledge into something accessible to everyone, not just the elite. This democratization of knowledge laid the foundation for modern education, media, and communication. It's no exaggeration to say that Gutenberg's press was one of the most important inventions in human history. In summary, Johannes Gutenberg changed the course of history by making knowledge accessible to all. His printing press allowed ideas to spread rapidly, transforming religion, education, science, politics, and culture. Michael Hart rightly called Gutenberg one of the most influential figures in history because his invention opened the door to the modern world. Without Gutenberg, the progress we see today in education, communication, and democracy would have been unimaginable. His legacy reminds us that a single innovation can change the world forever.